segment for the podcast episode, and for this particular segment, we're just going to catch up on some NWSL news that's been going on within the last week or so. First off, I want to remind you guys that the NWSL Challenge Cup is going to be beginning in about a month. It's going to be starting on April 9th, and I am super pumped to do that. It'll be a nice preseason tournament, I guess you could call it, before the season ends up kicking off. And then following that, the regular season will kick off on May 15th. So 4 weeks of Challenge Cup, and then we'll go right into the regular season. What else is going on in the NWSL? I talked about this on the last podcast episode, but in case you haven't watched it or you haven't heard, the Chicago Red Stars have unveiled their new ownership group. Arnim Whistler is still the majority owner, but he wanted to include more names and faces to the group, and he has done so. So now the ownership group includes himself, the majority owner, Arnim Whistler, Jesse Becker, Dean Egerter, Julie Haddon, Israel Adonahey, Jordan Levin, Abel Lescano, Colleen Maris, Michael Ramondi, Steve Ritchie, Kendall Coyne Schofield, Michael Schofield, Sarah Spain, Marie Tillman, Brian Walsh, Kevin Willer, and David M. Zapata. So if you guys are more curious, I took a deep dive into each of these new names and faces on my previous podcast episode, which you can find in my channel listings. What else is going on in the NWSL? The Kansas City NWSL, or the KC NWSL as they've called themselves for their inaugural season, they announced their preseason schedule, and they've actually already started with it. They started out playing against the Orlando Pride, and they played against them on March 3rd. It was just a really quick friendly. Kansas City emerged victorious out of that one by a scoreline of 1-0, so that was really cool. Who scored? Reisa Akimoto, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, scored in the 59th minute. She was on the right side of goal, just outside the penalty area. She wound up with her right foot and sent it into the upper left-hand corner of the net, which is really cool to see. Not a bad way for the Kansas City NWSL franchise to start out. Hugh Williams had a few notes on the match, but to sum it up, they created chances and they needed better finishing. He praised the play of their new signing, Victoria Pickett, who was their collegiate draft, which is really cool. The remaining NWSL or KC NWSL preseason schedule includes the following. On March 16th, they'll be playing the Kansas Jayhawks, so the collegiate women's soccer team. On March 20th, they will play against Kansas State. And then on March 31st, they will round out their preseason schedule by facing off against Oklahoma. So if you guys want to catch up on everything that KC NWSL is doing, follow them on Twitter at KCWoso, and they will get you covered. That's how I found the highlights of the match, and it was really cool. It's really weird, though, because KC NWSL has been really transparent about their preseason schedule, and I don't know if this is an anomaly in the NWSL, but it's like I can't really find much about any of the teams' preseason schedules leading up to the Challenge Cup, which has been really weird. I don't know if teams keep them under wraps. I don't know if teams just like to have closed-door practices, or maybe not a lot of them are having games, so I just thought that was really puzzling and odd. What else has been going on in the NWSL? We'll stick with KC NWSL for the next bit of news, because they signed their draft picks. They signed Victoria Pickett and Addie Mccain to multiple year deals, which is really exciting because this is evidence of the NWSL growing. A lot of the contracts that have been signed, I would say like 90% of them in the NWSL this offseason have been to 2 or 3 year deals. Sydney Leroux is a good example of that, of the Orlando Pride. It's awesome to see. It shows that the league is starting to become more stable and starting to grow slowly but surely, which is exactly what they need, because if you grow too fast, you'll end up like the WPS and you will fold. We don't want that to happen. But anyway, Victoria Pickett is their draft pick midfielder. She signed a 3-year agreement, and she was the 15th overall pick out of the University of Wisconsin, which, hey, you guessed it, Rose Lavelle attended that university as well to play her collegiate soccer. She's originally from Ontario, Canada, which I thought was really cool. She actually just got back from representing Canada in the She Believes Cup. I don't know if she got a ton of playing time or not. I'll have to double check back into the archives, but some notable awards when she was in college. She was all Big Ten in 2017 and 2018, so she's got a pretty good pedigree behind her. Who else got signed? Addie Mccain, also another midfielder who was drafted on a 2-year agreement. She is the 17th overall pick out of Texas A&M. Some of her accolades: SEC All-Freshman 2017, All-SEC Second Team in 2018, and All-SEC First Team in 2020. To me, that's really exciting to look at from a professional team perspective, because then you see that natural progression and growth as a player over time, winning an All-SEC team award pretty much every year you're in school. So I thought that was really cool. I thought these two signings were perfect. One, because they drafted them. They obviously like these players. But it gives the midfield of KC NWSL a nice mix of some veteran players and some younger players. So I'm excited to see how those two pieces are going to mesh together, especially since I keep forgetting that KC NWSL is the former Utah Royals. So that I keep forgetting to put that together in my mind. But what else is going on in the NWSL? We'll shift over to a team that's not going to be coming until next season, which is going to be Angel City FC. They have gained their first jersey sponsor, which is really, really cool. I want to make sure I get this right. They are a female-founded direct-to-consumer footwear brand called Birdies, and their logo is going to feature on the right shoulder of Angel City's FC's kit, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. There's also a footwear collaboration going down between the two sides, and it's going to be in the works, and I believe it's going to be unveiled in the spring of 2022, what that will look like. So Angel City's got a lot of momentum riding on them. I can't wait to see how that all plays out. And then lastly, we'll get into the Orlando Pride. They also signed one of their draft picks, Abby Kim, who is a forward. The agreement was for 2 years with an option for an additional year, which, like I said, another multi-year deal. Really, really cool in terms of growth. She was the 26th pick out of California, Berkeley, which is the same school as Alex Morgan went to. She is a forward with some prior professional experience, actually. She didn't get drafted directly out of college. She actually went over and played in the Italian Serie A for a year. She played with Fiorentina, and she got some good professional experience there, which I thought was really, really interesting. And that can only help the Pride because they desperately needed forwards with Alex Morgan going to the Olympics this summer. I'm assuming she'll make the roster for the U.S. Women's National Team. I would be shocked if she didn't. But other than Alex Morgan and Sydney Leroux, and you could argue Marta, but she's not listed as a forward on the Orlando Pride's website, they really had like two forwards going into this summer, which was Alex Morgan and Sydney Leroux. So they desperately needed more. So I'm not surprised they did everything they could to sign Abby Kim. And I'm glad they did because they could use her this summer. And she's also got some U20 national experience with the U.S. too, so she's no stranger to the Pride organization or to the U.S. Women's National Team in general. I'm excited to see what she will do going forward. So that catches us up on all the NWSL news going down this week, ladies and gentlemen. What are some tidbits of news that I might have missed? Feel free to jump down in the comments below and let me know what you think.